Gaffer, this weekend was a trip to Millwall. They had a midweek game this week. Have you had a chance to watch that game?
Yeah, went across there with Macca last night to watch the game against Scunthorpe, and Scunthorpe played very well. It has to be said, they've got a lot of experience in there. They've signed one or two, and they were very strong on the night. They showed and used all of that experience to very good effect, and Millwall, who've been on a terrific run of form, came a cropper, which I'm sure will only serve to steal them and make them refocus in advance of the weekend. So it's going to be a tough trip.
Yeah, when we spoke earlier on in the season, we spoke about how this league is particularly tight, and going into the end of February, it's still ridiculously tight. I think it's 14 points to the automatic and 14 the other way, which just goes to show what kind of a league it is this year.
Yeah, anybody can beat anyone in most leagues, but in our league, the top and the bottom are not separated by masses of quality. I think a lot of it has come down to consistency of selection and form of the team that is consistently selected. You look at us and you say, well, when we were in our best run of form, we had pretty much the same 11 going out there week after week, and that's true, I think, of all the sides that have run into form. They seem to be able to start selecting the right team and get that team on the pitch consistently, and then maybe a knock happens or a change happens for one reason or another, and suddenly the form goes with it. So it's very much a league like that, where when best 11s are out there, there's probably best teams, but when squads are changing and teams are changing, anything could happen.
After such a tough week with the Chesterfield game, West Brom obviously going into Bradford, both physically and emotionally, is it nice that it's been a sort of clear week this week going into this week's game in Millwall, sort of a fresh start, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think anyone who's got any experience of football would know that last Saturday was going to be a tough afternoon. As I said after the game, whether I'd have dealt with it by bringing all the fresh lads in, or whether I'd have dealt with it by making the vast majority go again, it was a high risk situation. As it was, we went again, and our game is about having a vibrancy and urgency and energy, having speed in abundance, and 10 minutes in I knew we were in trouble. It was a question of when did I use my subs, how did I use my subs, could I possibly find a way of getting something out of a situation that looked dire. And as I say, 10 minutes in I knew, and you might say, well, you should have known that sooner, should have known it Friday, but you just can't foresee exactly how players are going to recover until the day and until the moment. And physically, emotionally, it was a draining experience. We spoke to West Brom on Saturday night and said, what did you do in terms of recovery? Because they won with 9 of the 11 that played on Wednesday. And they pretty much were a carbon copy of what we did in terms of recovery. There were no tricks we missed in terms of recovery. The one point they made was, we didn't have the emotional sort of trauma to get over with the emotional joy to sort of lift us. So perhaps that was a factor, but they also pointed out that ours is a high energy attacking game and theirs is a more resilient game, a game where they may be defending their box, and the stats from their game show that. I think they conceded 37 chances at their goal, so they were very much on the back foot. So it was a tough weekend last weekend, and I said afterwards, not one to dwell on, and we haven't dwelt on it.
You had a reserve game at Barnet this week. How was that for the lads?
Well, it was 90 minutes. It was a tough affair. We brought a lot of youth team lads in to fill the shirts. Lads who needed 90 or as close to 90 as they could get were given those minutes, and it was a useful exercise. It was tough conditions, but minutes and minutes in anybody's language.
And fitness-wise, going into this game, how are the lads?
Yeah, good. We've had a much lighter week, as you can imagine, just to try and get people recovered. There's a good brightness about people. I think the recovery is well underway, and it's Wednesday now. Still got Thursday, Friday to fine tune things, but we're obviously looking forward to the game. It's nice to get back to action, feeling that you're on a level playing field, and we know when our side's on a level playing field, they've got every chance because we've got some very good footballers.
And just finally, there's been talk about abolishing FA Cup replays in the media of late. Where would you stand on that? Is that a way of the Premier League clubs trying to get some time off, or how does it work?
I can't stand it. I can't stand talk of playing around with the greatest cup competition in the world. It's a competition that has fueled lower league football. It's given the small boys an opportunity to build training grounds. It's given the small boys an opportunity to have memories that will last forever. It's the competition's produced vintage football moments, and I'm not one for living in the past, but there are some traditions that you just shouldn't toy with, and the cup is one of those. The idea that we go to West Brom and we don't get the opportunity to have that replay, that in the end is going to be so important to the finances of our season. The fact that we can't have the opportunity to go and earn that replay just is wrong. It is plain wrong. And I think the FA Cup deserves protection. I know what they say about the Premier League and Champions League and international football and all of that baloney. But the FA Cup was in existence when we won the World Cup. And if we can't manage our way around the situation of the FA Cup, then we've got something fundamentally wrong. It really is time for football as a whole to get together and say, look, enough's enough. Let's protect the heritage. Let's protect the crown jewels. Let's protect the national game.